Dear Father in heaven, thank you that we can all be here today. I ask that you place your hand of protection over everyone that is working to keep us safe. Thank you for this weather and the moisture that we need, but also be with the people who are out on the roads traveling and those that are trying to restore the power. Keep a watch on all of those who serve us. As I always ask, please guide our words, our thoughts, and our actions as we lead. And all these blessings we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, agenda changes or adoptions. We got anything? I don't think we really changed or added anything to the agenda this week. All right, next up, citizen participation. That is for anything that's not on the agenda, and I think we've got, Ashley, go on.
Good morning. I do have a statement from Sheriff Ash. I apologize. He had an unavoidable conflict. Otherwise, he would have been here.
Okay.
He said, my apologies for not being here in person, but I have a conflict on this date and time. I would like to bring forward a concern to all three commissioners regarding the termination of the dog impound contract with the animal clinic. In approximately a week, Baker County, to include Baker City, will no longer have a viable solution for animal impound complaints. I do not have all of the reasons for the termination of the contract, but I presented this to Commissioner Alderson, excuse me, several weeks ago and notified him that the contract is being terminated. My request is that all three commissioners discuss this matter and reach out to Baker City Council and the Baker City manager, Barry Murphy, to work on a solution for animal impound complaints. Lack of impound facilities will impact all of Baker County in a negative manner.
Okay.
So, yeah, I didn't know that the contract, as it was in Travis told me.
What's that?
I didn't know about the contract being canceled.
Barry,
before that.
can you come on up? Or who? Yeah.
Yeah, no, Brett.
And Barry, you can sit down if you guys want. When I talked with Dick Haynes, the last time it looked like we were going to be able to do an MOU with LeGrand. Is that still a possibility?
I would say it's a possibility. The challenge with doing that is the transportation costs to get them out there would be significant. So
Okay.
if we did that, we would have to figure out that piece. The other issue is if that's where the dogs go, the owners of the dogs are also going to have to go all the way to LeGrand to pick them up, which one of the reasons the animal clinic is trying to get out of this is because a lot of these people are their clients, and they get really angry when their dogs are impounded and they're coming to pick up the dogs, and they believe it's affecting their business, which is it's hard to argue with them on that. And so now if we shift the whole thing to LeGrand and these people who are already angry now have to go all the way to LeGrand to pick up their dog, it's just going to add a host of other issues on top of the cost. So it's a potential solution, but
is there, when people have a dog impounded, is there usually a fine?
Yes, there's a fine, and then I think Chief, they'd have to pay for the however many nights that they have to reimburse basically.
Could we, sure, could we, I mean, of course, that would be up to the judge, but could we, take that into consideration on the fine if they have to travel to pick the dog up?
I suppose we could, but the issue, typically they're paying for the costs associated of keeping the dog and the fine associated with it. We could potentially waive the fine, but yeah, it's just that one will be a challenge. That'll be one of the things I discussed with the council to see if they want to go that route.
And I think there's a lot of instances where dogs get picked up where there
We need Jim there.
Oh, go ahead and come up to the mic.
I think there's a lot of instances where dogs get picked up where they'll never see a judge. Say a dog's running at large.
Yeah.
Officer picks the dog up, goes to the animal clinic. There's some social media stuff. Okay, we figure out the dog belongs to this individual person. That person may or may not get a ticket for running at large. If it's the first time, probably not. So we're still, I think it would be really heavy lift to contract with a grant. I mean, I'm not
Okay.
saying that it couldn't be done, but I think it'd be really difficult. You've got lots, like Barry said, how do we get dogs to LeGrand? Because officers can't leave the city or
Right.
county to transport those dogs. So you've got that issue, and then how do people go get their dogs? You know, freeways are closed. down.
Right.
There's,
Right.
I think that is a really heavy.
Where are we at with the best friends? Do they, I understand their leadership has kind of faded out and they're
They-
short on volunteers.
They are short on volunteers. Their capability and kind of capacity to do dogs has gotten significantly diminished from what it was before. But the other thing they're having a tough time with is people don't adopt dogs as much. So
Right.
if they kind of take one on, it's a lot more difficult for them to find someone to accept the dog in either the local area or, you know, we talked to Summer who said that sometimes they have to drive significant distances to find somebody that
Right.
can
They were,
take.
I know my
take a dog.
stepdaughter volunteered for them and they were taking them as far as Portland.
Yeah,
And-
exactly. So that's a challenge for them, and they don't have as much, assistance locally.
then-
But it's not. They still are in this. They're still
Okay.
doing things. They just don't feel like they can keep up with what the demand has been.
And it's
So
just the
far.
dogs. They're mainly concerned just about the dogs.
They mentioned a little bit with cats, but primarily dogs. Yeah.
So that is the catalyst. I mean, that is one major catalyst in the animal clinic not continuing,
Exactly.
ceasing to do this, because Best Friends has been able to take those dogs
Exactly.
within the 5 days. And now that they're not able to do that, just so that everybody understands, now that Best Friends isn't able to do that at that capacity, then the animal clinic is facing in 5 days euthanizing the animals, and they don't want to do that. That's
Right.
not part of their
Right.
clinic. They don't want to do that. And I get
That's
it.
exactly
I
right. Yeah.
understand it. And
Yep.
this is the shift. And
Mm-hmm.
so Best Friends has to be mentioned in this. I have a copy of property in its canyons, and it sits on 9 acres, and it's set up for kennel right now. Oh my, I've got a clip on the bottom of that, but I don't know how it attached, but yeah. So I would urge the city to take a look at that. This is going to be an impact on the city, but it's, it is also to the county, where our sheriff's deputies will meet the dog at the clinic and then impound. We won't haul them in, a little bit different than I think the city police maybe. I don't know if they haul the dogs into impound or not. But the other important thing to think about is if somebody is injured or have rid a child or something like that, and that we've got a dangerous dog that needs to be impounded, that faces being euthanized, who's going to take care of that dog for the immediate
Right.
and through the process and something like that. So there's a lot of factors here, and I'd really encourage. I don't know if it could be the city and Best Friends, but there's 9 acres on this property right now that could be sold. That it can be divided. It is, I believe, listed in farm use, and it's off of 17th. It's still within the city limits, and could be usable land for housing too. I mean, if the city was to look at it that way, with 9 acres plus all of this kennel that's already sitting there
Mhm.
ready to go.
Right.
So
No, I can definitely bring that option to the city. Will still be one of the reasons that Duquesne said
The animal clinic, bless their heart for doing that for so many years, perhaps better than 20. It made a difference. Best Friends of Baker did the major lifting of taking dogs out of there and getting them somewhere. I want to be clear about that. But what our program does in working with adults in custody is we're able to work with those men. I do the training with them, and some of the men work up to 3 years. So in our community, it's really unique. It's unique in Eastern Oregon now that we have one of the few programs where men can work with behavioral issues. That's how we contributed, and to this day contribute to doing that. I have 3 animals right now, courtesy of the county that have been with me since May, that were found on the forest, and they're extremely shy. And it's taken a long time, but with a lot of work, these animals are starting to become socialized. And we don't have that means otherwise in most communities to do something like that. So that's that. The question I'm asked is how we go about doing something different than not having impound at the animal clinic. And from my standpoint, something that's really important is once an animal is picked up, be it city or county, then the question becomes, are there any contagious diseases of that animal? And they're out there, contagious diseases. And the second one that's as important as that is, does the animal possess any behaviors that result in aggression, which can come from fear, just a tremendous number of different reasons. But what impound does, and what I was asked to talk about it with the city and with Shane to some degree, was that's really rock solid. For a while, I thought, well, maybe the Department of Corrections would be interested in hiring a few more adults in custody, and we could do something. And then I went back and read my national standards for impoundment and care of animals, and it's very black and white.
Right.
That's your first step, and there's just there's too much liability and too much risk involved, regardless of how much well-meaning that we have. And so, in my opinion, we have to have that step. And I know there's human beings out there, they've been in this community in the past, and they'll get a call on an animal and go pick it up and put it in their car and transport it. And there's quite a risk involved in doing those kind of things. But that is a very key element of how we look at it and see if we can come up with potential solutions to get back to being, frankly, one of the most humane communities in Eastern Oregon. We have a city TNR programs going on for more than 10 years. It's the only humane way to deal with feral cats, and we're still going, and phones don't ring, and it's a good thing. And this has been a real blessing, but I understand too well how the animal clinic feels. One of the things in my mind is that what LeGrand does with our shelter, I have volunteered up there in the past and LeGrand works with me. I take their animals in at times and train them and give them back to them. They use a rotation of veterinarians. When the city or county impounds a dog, and the county plays a very key role up there, when they impound, then a veterinarian rotates in, and the next morning they come by and check that animal and make sure that there's nothing going on that's of a concern and so forth. And it occurs to me that we have the animal clinic, but we also have other veterinarians in the area. And it makes me think about the possibility of looking at things differently than one entity somewhere that takes on this responsibility, which includes not only the criminal aspect of picking up an animal, but it's also the stray animal that we see and pick it up, and there's an awful lot of surrenders, particularly after COVID. We had a lot of placements and then a lot of resurrenders, and so there's an aspect to each of that, but the underlying need to assess that is pretty important. I think the last thing I'll say, and Shane knows this well in my visits with him, is that and as well as the city, is that I have a dog in LeGrand Shelter. They help me with placing animals. It's more difficult today. So that dog is housed there, and I've had reason for communication. And I'm very aware LeGrand Shelter is not running at full capacity. They'd have to explain where they're at, but my guess is they're running about a third of capacity. And they have been willing to take dogs from me. Their standard by either the county or city is only Union County or LeGrand dogs. But there's exceptions that have been made for me at the shelter level because I assist with trying to put some behavioral training into the animals. And so I'm aware of that. I can't obviously speak for Union County or City of LeGrand or whomever, but I did ask met with the board of directors and know the director Cher personally, and asked her the question when I saw this materializing here that our impound may go away. She said, we certainly have the capacity. And she said, I think if there was an ability to help fund the shelter, they're operating at just 2 employees, and go back up to 3 or 4 by sharing some of that space with Baker County. It's not perfect. We're 45 miles away, but if we hold animals somewhere for X number of days, 5 days has been the number for quite a while for us, then it does hold some possibilities for us on a longer term type of thing. And they network with Oregon Humane. I network with Oregon Humane, the largest in Oregon, and actually probably one of the most positive and successful shelters on the West Coast. Yeah, they're incredible. And if you can get the animal in there, transporting it, then, and that's a little bit of what LeGrand does by means of a bus that comes through. So I just wanted to put that
Yeah.
plug in because Shane, we talked about that for a
Right.
while.
And how do they test new animals coming in for disease? And then of course, they can separate them out. They
Yeah.
can,
That's a good question for someone like Dr. Kearns.
Okay.
I have a wildlife biology background and took
Right.
these courses, but I think I'm gonna have to leave that to
Okay.
a veterinarian to ask.
because I mean, I know here, because you had to right at the veterinary hospital, but out at LeGrand, I wonder if they have a vet that comes in and does that work or how
Yeah,
that
that's
works.
what I've understood has been the history
Okay.
there. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure they would welcome a call to probably explain any details that they can share about their operation.
Okay. Well, even, like I said, I've called around to try to drum up some support for best friends and I'm not having any luck, but I'll keep going.
Yeah, very good.
Okay,
Well, we're gonna stay interested. We're not going anywhere.
Right.
We have about 13 men working
Okay,
right
good.
now. I have 8 dogs, 5 in the prison
Yeah.
and 3 in holding.
I saw them the other day working the dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're interested in serving the community and serving the county and serving the city.
You bet.
That's part of what we try to do. And we're not the same as best friends of others where we deal with high volume. What we deal is we go slow to go fast by
Sure.
finding animals that have some behavioral needs or some basic training that might hold them back from being successfully adopted. And we see ourselves continuing on to do that
Okay.
with a good partnership with the Department of Corrections.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in today and thank you for all of your work. All right. Anybody else that has something to say that's not on the agenda? Hey, Ty, are you around this afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to give you a call and yak some stuff over with you. All right, thank you. All right, it's seeing nothing. Let's go on to review and approval of minutes for December 8, 2025.
I found on page, I just want to clarify, on page 4, E, it states that this is the grant funding, the EDC grant funding that the current cycle that we approved all of those grants is the second cycle. And then the last paragraph on that page, Mr. Peacock reported the EDC is also requesting approval to transfer 80,000 from the 218 to 318 to help fund these projects. It should say the third cycle
The
of
third
grants.
cycle. You're
So
right, I
that
missed
we're clear on that.
Yeah.
Because that was, he even
Yeah. I missed that.
Okay,
sat and it, you know, when he was in here giving us a report, he said second. And that was actually that money was transferred for the future third cycle that the applications are being accepted now.
okay. And that's the second set?
This is what I
No,
originally
your-
read.
This is your second set of,
It's the same on the first and the second.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything that I wanted changed.
I'll move to approve the
good? Okay.
minutes from January 8th. With the one correction on EDC funding.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, let's go to Technology Department update.
I actually don't have an update.
What?
We're actually going through the commissioner's handout, the technology department.
Okay,
I thought I'd do something different this year. Okay, you flip to page 1. This is the life cycle of new systems. Typically, I don't actually tell the commissioners this, but we're not there. We're actually before that. Yeah. Here is the life cycle of new systems. Installation, there's some learning, some education to it. There's some troubleshooting, completion usage, normal operations, maintenance, and then final disposal of the equipment. Now, a cyber incident, if you remember our training, is the alteration, the corruption, destruction, deletion, or damage of data assets stored on a computer system. Now, if you remember to the right, a cyber event, this is identifiable, isolated event that is a system related or user related. No one uses that terminology, our cyber event. We call that work. This could actually be a cyber event.
okay.
So, yeah, I mean, flip the, before I do that, I think it's great the commissioner, this first group of commissioners are that sensitive to computers and cyber aware. I think that's great. And Michelle, she is really hyper aware. We're turning in suspicious emails.
I was scared of getting fired.
And she actually understands the reporting of those phishing tests, which I'm actually preparing to send reports to department heads.
Okay.
The ones that are failed. Now, the insurance guy on there, he was actually, you'll see later, actually surprised I didn't do that. And the reason I didn't send it is actually just building the awareness such as, things actually happen. So it's great, but step one is actually just the awareness of cybersecurity. But the other thing is actually understanding the terminology. This isn't an actual technical implementation of it. You guys would not need to know that, but actually understand the terminology interface with the tech department. Two, it actually underscores the importance of passphrases, the 12 characters or longer, because you're randomly going through combinations of letters and numbers till you crack it. And there's websites that'll actually determine that, but I believe it's 1 million years to crack it, a password. That's why passwords are passphrases are so long. And passphrases are easy to remember too. They're not complex passwords that you stick under your keyboard. The other thing, YubiKey, multi-factor authentication, that too actually underscores the importance of using multi-factor that we're actually implementing and even at the desktop. And that's actually what Homeland Security, but we do it, they said multi-factor authentication. We're doing it using YubiKeys. And also underscores the importance of having a plan for an emergency, because those tabletop exercises are basically the modern day version of a fire drill. They're a fancy word of a fire drill.
Sure.
And being able to understand the terminology and identify what's going on, you guys, and actually be able to exercise go through the complete exercise. Now flip the, oops, it's too far. You are here with that incident. Well, don't say incident, with that issue. You're, I don't want to say that. You're actually at the troubleshooting stage. And this is what I worry about, is when that gets out. And I do invoke client attorney privilege, because I told Kim the whole story and she got shocked at who I contacted. But I'm troubleshooting, and that's all I'm doing. And they have ruled everything out. They're actually constantly monitoring, but they're still troubleshooting the issue. And they'll continue until we actually find the issue. So we're there. So, and we're not actually, doing anything more than that, troubleshooting. And it's actually nothing more than that. Now, I always, I think it's best to turn this into a good learning experience, because what you hear sounds bad, but it also for me, it's encouraging, because they're hitting roadblocks that they should. And because of our security system, but it also does emphasize the areas we can improve, which actually is why I'm putting that system into place anyway. So yeah, I think if people hear that, what troubleshooting means, it wouldn't have went to you guys, and you don't know what it is, and we're just troubleshooting. And that's really all it is. Yeah.
So also, just to confirm that,
Can you get on the mic?
let me,
She was back up.
so, just to add, like you said, but also just to kind of let you know, there was no access to the system, there was no information siphoned off, that's what we want to reassure. So the troubleshooting period could take a week, 2 weeks, sometimes a month.
Okay.
So I think that, period kind of makes people nervous, because we're looking for answers right now, but we just want to make sure people realize that nothing was accessed, taken off the system, anything like that.
In this recent,
Yes.
I think that the question wasn't, the necessarily the process or the time, because they were getting computers, you had replacement computers, or one, or gave it back or something, I tried. But there was some delay, because there was some delay in there between Bill and not being, that's what I understood, is that there was a delay because one person wasn't available for something.
Yeah, that's a
Or part of that.
roadblock, but I went and got Taylor for 20 minutes, and that really isn't much of a if you look at the whole thing. The roadblock
Sure.
is actually copying data from the machine to another machine, and that's why you have map drives.
Sure.
Yeah.
I understand you're, saying that was 20 minutes. So that was the issue that I thought was the main
Mhm.
thing, that was relayed, I guess. So it's not that thank you for catching that on those two. It's
Yeah, I mean,
part of this.
a lot of it is just how
Yeah.
people look at things.
Yeah.
Where I don't know what people hear. You hear words, I interpret it one way, and people interpret it the other way. That's why Stephanie's here, is in the middle ground of it. But I just hear troubleshooting, and when someone hears that, they could actually panic.
Okay, so the absence of one person is not going to delay the end result.
Right.
Getting through the situation.
Right.
Is that,
Right,
you
and
can confirm that?
And yeah, this it wouldn't actually affected anything. But again, I think too, the other issue is me calling someone, but calling someone for help. But by then I've actually troubleshooted several days on call like several people. And if you actually hear it, who all I called, it sounds far worse than it was. It's
Right.
called troubleshooting. You're just trying to get resources into it. Again, I'll leave that to client attorney privilege. I told Kim, she looked shocked. But again, troubleshooting, that's all we're doing. And but anyway, the terminology is probably important to understand because, or how I phrase things, because I see it just the way it is, and people might kind of take it and kind of run it with it a little bit. But anyway, we are still trying to troubleshoot the system, the new system. We'll put it into place, and that'll actually sure up the cyber gap, I guess, which was the intent to begin with. So, all right, next. Nope. The county computer policy turns 20 years old today. It actually is the guidelines computer use of the time. And still to this day, it's just been modernized. It actually had the original public records policy that no one actually knew we had. It took another decade when I updated to realize people were shocked that such a thing actually existed. And that's how it takes that long to get people's awareness into it. And they didn't realize I was updating it. They thought I was actually putting it in originally. And I think there was some shock that public records actually existed. But it was actually an original computer policy. In public, employees are expected to understand this. And some side notes, 20 years ago, there was a staff of 3 people, and I believe that's the same budget board that actually was there 20 years ago. And it still actually, kind of goes back to it still kind of suffers where the department you shove in the basement. But we're actually getting upgrades, so we appreciate that. But it's just, and the other thing, they actually have a terminology, and I'll just say it once, and you just have to let it go and go on to it. They actually evaluate counties by cyber maturity.
Okay.
That sounds like a growing up process, I know, but to that is actually the understanding of computers and understanding of the tech department and the terminology. And how that handles, if people understand the terminology, it would have been just routine. And flip the thing. Computers policy of 2021, these are updated to the actual original policy, and some of them are still the same. It is actually required for cyber insurance. It's like you can drive on the left side of the road, but you wouldn't get insurance either.
Okay.
It is just that simple. These are certain guidelines the insurance wants you to do. Or you don't qualify. And they're actually just standard guidelines. They might be set far out, but they're just standard guidelines. Next. Homeland Security. Well, yeah, I kind of actually understand what they kind of mean by that. Review your policies once in a while. State agencies do it. It's basically you forget them, the insurance, maybe go through the insurance once a year and review the policies and just kind of keep the awareness up and understanding it. Yeah. Tabletop exercise. Again, this is a modern day fire exercise. Offboarding employee process. I've actually called several counties. I know what that actually looks like, but anyway, this is your insurance company. I never asked them to actually give an evaluation. That's how routine it is for him to participate in it.
Okay.
So this is what they got out of the table, the
Yeah, that's
exercise. So
his evaluation.
This was their takeaway.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't offer it. He actually just routinely just as matter. That's what he thought he was expected of. Report cyber training and phishing test failures back to department heads and testing a backup. That's the important one I wanted to get because we've been doing it, it spreads awareness, people understand what it is now, and we can actually do it faster. And the staff actually said, send training results to the departments. They said, say basically the same thing, offboarding employees, tracking USB, asset inventory of websites. I mean, I agree with that all. There's nothing really I disagree. It's odd what people would feedback, I'm a little concerned, but it literally is just right on what I would suggest. And again, the Umatilla actually told me they actually conducted that with the regular employees, the tabletop exercise. And I went over there. That's the only second county I've ever actually visited, just because they invited me. But then they told me that story. I thought I could top that. I'll just bring in Homeland Security Insurance Company. But it kind of actually did. It's not a competition. It's back to that maturity level and understanding it. It kind of doesn't actually make sense. It makes you aware there's other people we talk to, and there's a process and the importance of it. And if you don't have a continuity operations, it kind of almost doesn't really make sense to have an exercise like that, because they actually came here to train you guys that it's not just an IT problem, it's an everybody's problem.
Sure.
And that's what they're trying to drive home. So, yeah.
Bill, are all of the department heads responsive to you when you send out the reports?
Well, I haven't sent them out yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, then let me know
Yeah,
how
it's
that
actually
goes.
new. I thought
Okay,
since you got the awareness up, I'm going to start figuring out what's the best way to, and I'll send them out.
okay.
So
Next.
on the offboarding of employee process, did you get that? Is that getting better? Are you getting notified when employees leave?
I don't know. I don't know if anyone's left. I don't think we get,
Okay.
well, I still haven't got notified, but
Okay.
I don't know if anyone's left yet either,
I don't think so, not since we've
but
gone over that, but
let's see. Okay. Flipping to the page.
There's been a few.
All right. On to what's the difference between a tech issue and a user issue? Now, I by no means suggest this at all, but it was a unique take, because I actually do call a lot of counties, randomly just call them and just ask them. And for me, you have to see where you're at with other counties. And it's kind of that, I hate that term maturity, but where you're at, you got to compare yourself where you're at and what you need to work on. But the tech director at Klamath County had an interesting take at it. And she said so routine. She said, first I notify the department head, then I start billing the department. She says that always fixes it. And I thought, wow, I don't think we could do that, but yeah, all her employees are actually salaried employees, all of them. They're not hourly, and where the department heads are just salaried here. But it was kind of interesting. But a tech issue, that is the definition of it. Stephanie brought that up. It refers to referring to the technology itself, mistyping data, selecting the wrong option, and not understanding the workflow of the software, trying to perform an action that isn't supported. That that get mixed up. Oh,
You guys gonna say those? That looks like those should.
it's
be-
backwards.
It's
So-
backwards, yeah.
No, that actually is a test. Is that a tech issue or a user issue?
That's a user. I'm going, really? Oh.
I did this in a hurry. No, that was a test. So you guys passed it. That is actually a user issue, getting the words mixed up. But a user issue is a problem caused by the user action of misunderstanding, such entering incorrect information, not following proper procedures. This includes the not running software. I guess they actually learn how to use their software, then train the users. But I get that. Oh, did I get that all mixed up? That is definitely a user issue. But software crashes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the.
I was like in a hurry. I'll send you guys a corrected version, but this is definitely an example of a user issue. But software crashes, data is not saving properly, features are not working as intended, and loading errors. Those are actually tech issues. So I get this. And one of the interesting things I found talking to the other counties, as long as I worked here, someone actually explained me what the reporting function is. when you actually report out the chain of command. I actually never knew that, but it's kind of like that one where the employee reported to department head, then Shane comes down because I was his supervisor. But you went through the reporting function, but you never actually showed me what the problem was. And it didn't even seem like a believable, but yeah, we can't fix issues that you can't reproduce. I mean, all issues can be reproduced somehow, some way, but yeah, you kind of went through the reporting functions, but not one of them, the three of them actually showed me the problem. So, but anyway, yeah, flip that. I'm working this out. I kind of started talking too much.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting older. I tell stories, but anyway, finished Microsoft 365, mobile devices updated. Going to YubiKeys. Ironically, Umatilla actually enters a building with YubiKeys. You don't get a key. You actually, that key they give you actually gets you in the building and
Oh.
Really?
and into the computer. But their entire building is locked down. It's not you're securing like one floor.
Oh.
You secure the entire building.
Okay.
So I thought that was interesting, but yeah, they actually use YubiKeys to enter the facility. Health department, all laptops for mobility. Ordinances should be back to 1970. Should be done this month, maybe early March. But
Okay.
again, back to troubleshooting and seeing what more than you have to interpret. It'll be like that because I think you'll be shocked because there's going to be a lot of stuff that needs to just be dug out and turned digitized. And I'm not sure what that is,
Okay.
but at least back to 1970 will be done. Getting closer to moving the phone services from copper to fiber. I know you guys agreed to it back in May, but I'm actually working with the phone company and the state of Oregon, which are probably the two of the slowest thing. And looking forward to moving to our expanded area, even though you guys shove us in the basement.
Even what?
Looking forward to moving into the expanded remodel area.
It's
Even though
safer,
you what?
Oh, even though we get shoved in the basement.
but safer for you.
What about the juvenile department?
Well, yeah, it goes back to you guys either agree to it or we put upgraded wireless and bridge them over there. It's the same issue that's been for 20 years. The commissioners don't want to, none of the commissioners for years don't want to put money into a rented building. And that's why they're just stuck the way they are.
So
After our
explain to me.
conversation, did you enhance this little thing out here outside that feeds to that? When we said, hey, why not try that? Because
Wireless bridge.
you said that this wireless bridge feeds over there. Can we get, and I asked at that time when we met, could we get a bigger, better one that would maybe reach better?
No, I did. And the cost was $30,000. But again, it was actually that wireless company.
$30,000 for the wireless, because I thought you said that was for running fiber
Fiber.
optic or a line to them. Having service was 30,000, not this little deal out here.
The wireless bridge is 30,000 with that company. We actually do have wireless bridges that are like $1,000 that could actually do that, and we're actually going to try that. The other is I would suggest just have the state of Oregon put it in, and but that too is like $500 a month. And the cheapest way, if you could actually do it, is actually run a cable from here to there. Now, how you do that, I don't know.
Well, we do know we'd have to get permission from the people who own those lines.
Yeah,
or the
CenturyLink
poles.
actually owns that. You actually have to get it right away. And I haven't
Yeah.
figured
Yeah.
out how to do that.
There's
So
a few things. Stephanie, do you have anything to add to the juvenile department?
I'm
Anything?
just gonna say, we've replaced the unit several times and, the requirements for the juvenile department and what they need to function now are substantially different than they were 5 years ago.
Mhm.
So everything's going online,
Mhm.
cloud-based. So I think we really need to find like a solid solution. We can keep dumping money into these wireless units, but it sits on the wireless network
Mhm.
and it really sits on the courthouse. So if the courthouse is super busy, they drop.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter how much your unit is out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be hard to find permanent solution, but they definitely need something.
But I think-
They do. I would really, I mean,
I think the
how long
reason-
ago was it that we met? Outside. It was last
Wasn't it like
summer?
Early fall. late
Early
summer?
fall?
Yeah.
So I was thinking that, I was hoping that maybe some sort of options would have come about. by
Yeah,
now,
it still
but-
comes that all the county buildings is county actually owns it. So you're actually stuck in a term that they're not gonna move, where they could just move at the end of the month. I think all the commissions that, of the years, that was a concern. You know, we get kind of tired of hearing about it, but it just kind of boils down to the money. And if you want to invest 3 years and you're kind of stuck 3 years, or they could actually just be moved out in their term too.
What is your lease? Do you know the term? Years?
It's-
Every 2 years.
It's
Every 2 years?
So I'm a point of clarification here for the newbie. What is your internet now?
Yesterday it was very, very slow.
No, I meant, so you get it just from here, this building, just totally
Off of
on,
the little
on that,
satellite
okay.
thing on
all
the,
right.
It's like a wireless bridge.
Wasn't there another company that was able to do internet to that office cheaper? That we had looked into, like,
Oh, we actually looked into a construction company to actually run it. So
no, I mean, a whole different, it would be a different service, like, other than CenturyLink or,
So who does our internet now?
stay oriented.
So why can't we? So what's the cost then to put that internet in their office?
I think it's $500 a month. I actually got to bid it out in December. It was
doesn't
like-
that sound ridiculous?
Mhm.
Sounds absurd.
It is. It is absurd.
So to have a private internet company run coax in there,
So we
we
did have
can't-
that.
we can't secure it, or what's
They had
the?
that for a couple of years and it still didn't support what they need.
How many gigs a minute or megabytes a
I can't
minute? do
remember
they
what
need?
that plan was, but. Are you talking like doing like a Spectrum or something
Mhm.
like that? I don't think there's.
The
do
Spectrum,
they
I mean,
still
I'm
require
running
lines in there?
like.
I know there was an old DSL CenturyLink line in there a couple of years ago, but I don't think it ran it,
But
even the
Spectrum,
speeds they need now.
Spectrum's running it completely off of coax,
Yeah.
and then, which you could get in there, and they are running like 600 megabytes a second.
Are you worried about the protection, the lack of protection with Spectrum and looking at Spectrum going over there?
Well, it's actually like the internet to this building. It's $10,000 a year. The sheriff's office is like almost 10,000 a year. There are actually special circuits to run both up and down,
Mhm.
and it's the quality of it. I don't know if you could actually quote like your home internet there. Because
You'll
it's a
have a
business.
business rate, but
You would have like Michelle has said, you'd have a business rate,
But
but
I'm
still,
thinking like
That's
you
not
and
that
I, what
much.
is, you and I is now what Ziply or whatever, or,
Yeah.
it's gotta be cheaper. I mean, you have to use state of Oregon. I understand that. I get that. But for them, but can't you just do another? I don't know, maybe I'm talking out of my cheeks. I don't know.
we did go through a bunch of the options, and so at that point, I wasn't told that that one would be that much money. That you didn't hear that day either. It was like, oh, that's gonna cost us $500, something like that to upgrade that. It wasn't $30,000 to upgrade that.
Well, we
Bridge.
used to, I didn't have the quote. I went back and got the quote.
530,000, yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean,
little,
these circuits are a lot of money, and again, it backs until when you look in it, you're surprised, but it's actually been that way for all the years. Because
I know, but it should be going down.
yeah.
Well,
It
yeah,
doesn't
that-
matter what happened in the past.
that's kind of based on home internet. So they actually put special circuits so they run the applications, because you're not running applications over the internet and that at home. But here you are. So, quality service, the quality of the internet.
is it?
So is
up?
there money in their budget for 500? I think you need internet.
We're talking about that,
Okay, okay,
down
later,
here
but-
in number 6.
Okay. I think,
Protection dollars at this time.
Right.
well, I'm just thinking, when it comes down to budget, I think we need to look at that to include that in their budget. if this doesn't work, we got to come up with
Heidi.
something else.
Didn't Inland say they could do it for like 6,000 or something?
It was like $11,000 installation charges.
Oh,
But then it kind of goes back to, they are kind of more like a quasi state department. They're running on the state network. And the state actually has their own bidding process. So when you ask the state of Oregon to put it in, which they did here too, they'll give you actually quotes and they'll do it. And that'd be more reassuring than trying to do it ourselves. Because if you do it yourself and you're committed to the money and it doesn't work right, or it doesn't quite function right, you're kind of on the hook for it. And you also too, the other component you have to realize is when they're doing evidence, they're doing the same work as the DA's office, which is sitting on our network, which your quotes that I gave you are just 100 megs up and down. They're sitting on a network that's 500 megs up and down, and sometimes they can play in the slow. So you basically have to take in two components to make your decision. You just kind of have to go with it. Because
I think we need a proposal.
So,
I think we need to have,
Yeah.
so the problem is their upload speed on a CenturyLink would be too slow, because I mean, they've got almost a gig coming in, but it's down to like 200 or 300 megabytes a second going up. Is that the problem?
well, one of the problems is those quotes, I cannot tell you for sure what they'd actually experienced, because you're quoting numbers that no one's actually ran the video up and down with, how that would do it. Two, you gotta get I'd definitely go with the state, but then you have to consider the speed too. Because the speeds would be 5 times faster over here, and sometimes they complain it's slow. So before you decide, you have to take that in consideration.
What is our speed up and down here?
Here, 500 megs up and down. Your next step would actually be jumping up to a gig up and down. And the only building that has a gig currently is actually the 4th Street building.
So internet providers are running 600 to 800 megs a second download, but it's very low upload. So is that? what
Yeah,
we're-
that's right. It looks good at home,
Right,
but you're only seeing 1/2 the speed.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
okay.
if you're gonna make a decision like that,
So
you have to get all the
You need your
information
upload and download to be,
equal, yes.
okay.
And you gotta realize too, that quote was not as fast as here. So if they say it's still slow and you'd have to upgrade it, you might have to upgrade to this speed. So that's just giving you all the information
well, I think we need,
to decide.
I think we need more, I think we need a proposal of some kind.
Yes, we need them
We need,
before us.
we need that to be upgraded.
With the whatever they need for
Yes.
speeds, we need to see in
Yes.
front of us so that we can move forward and get them, because
At least
if
look at
their
the
internet
budget.
is still being dropped, that's unacceptable.
I agree. We need to
Okay.
do something.
I'll give you 2 quotes. One, I'm gonna go back to State of Oregon and have them
Yes.
requote 100 megs up and down, realizing it's not as fast as here. Then I'll give you a quote equal to this building.
Okay,
Then you guys can decide.
yes,
Okay,
thank you.
okay.
I think it's important. We need either that or we move them back over here. You know, I mean.
And he won't, yeah, and we stood down there and looked at the area and everything, and
It's
then
not
at
gonna
the
work.
very end of the conversation, he goes, well, that's where I'm gonna be, at the tech department. After, yeah, so we're like, okay, well, then there's not room.
And we
So-
also have fiber in all locations where typical counties actually put juvenile apartments.
And juvenile cannot just be anywhere.
No.
I mean, there's,
Right.
she has told us time and time again that there is things that the restrictions, things that they need.
So I think we
Can't
need to
have-
get their internet up and going.
Okay.
That's, to me, that's a priority.
Okay,
Budget. So we can get those numbers so she can put it in her
Mhm.
budget.
There were
Yeah, I think
a
it takes about 60, 90 days to actually have the state of Oregon quote it, but I'll have them get you
Okay.
2 sets of quotes.
there were a couple of comments.
Oh.
About tech. The first one from the end, there's no name, just the end. So it says, so it sounds like something suspicious happened, the safeguards that were in place worked, but does the county have a plan that lines out what to do if things were or are worse? And can the tech department handle this or other things if Bill goes missing again? I understand 20 minutes is not a long time, but what if it was longer than that?
The county security isn't public information. It's all into your incident plan,
Mhm.
and exercise is not public information.
And then second comment was, from Andy Worth, has an offboarding procedure been developed similar to the onboarding? Or are department heads just supposed to send tech an email? I haven't seen anything put out on that process.
Yeah, I don't see any offboarding process. I mean, somebody, I know which was the common process in different counties. There's just no offboarding process, so. So, yeah, again, not a complete IT problem.
Was that everything? Okay,
Okay,
all right. And I'll go over with Heidi and see what kind of offboarding process we need to come up with, or whether it needs to be a policy or.
We need to do something to at least postpone them. You know, like, I mean, you have some people that come back, you know, and
Right.
so you don't want to completely get rid of them, but you need to limit their access. At the time
Yeah,
that they're
that
terminated.
too.
and we
Actually,
have had some people leave the county since
Yeah,
that
and so-
cyber
yeah.
training
Mhm.
and that
I think
subject
Road
came up.
department.
Yeah, at least
Yeah.
a couple over there, and I'm sure. we've
that's a
had
good point.
couple
There's
others.
different types of terminated, terminated, never come back, or terminated, you can't come back. So
Yeah,
we
so-
kind of need to know that, because what we do, if we know
So
that
you
is different.
postpone or you kick them off or.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
All right. Is that everything for tech department? All right,
Yeah.
thank you. We will,
And you're gonna set us an updated page for that.
Oh, yeah, I'll correct it.
Thank you.
Good at identifying user and tech.
all right, open contract review board. And go to road department.
Everybody out plowing?
Good morning, I'm not Ryan. Yes, with all the white this morning, you get me.
Well, that's all right.
We don't mind.
Yeah,
So we're coming to you for a motion to approve purchasing a new pressure washer.
this is a
Current.
steam pressure
Yep, a
washer.
hot seat, yep.
The one that's attached to the building.
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah.
back behind the
Right.
paint booth. Yep.
Okay,
So it's a diesel 5 gallon, smaller one. The guys use it all the time. Oftentimes they'll get, partway through their project, have to go refill, come back, start again. So this would be switching over to a larger natural gas one. And we already have natural gas in place.
Also a safety issue.
Oh, yeah, diesel.
Definitely.
I
Yes.
got the tour
Did you
the other
see
day.
it?
Oh, my
Yes,
goodness.
I saw it too.
Yeah.
It is a safety issue.
yeah, we
Yep.
we
It's-
we looked at it and I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, approved.
I'll make a motion. Let me see. I'll make a motion to approve this purchase from North Star Clean Concepts Hotsy for $11,313.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Saying none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Get her out of there. Thank you. All right, Commissioner and Executive Assistant Job Description Review and Approval.
What are you going with first?
Go ahead, just do both of them, whichever you want.
Was there's no recent change to that.
This is what-
The
This is the red line version of the changes that we made the last meeting.
commissioner.
Yes.
Okay,
For the-
that's
yeah.
that's what I want to clarify which one we were on. Is it the commissioner?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you want to do the Commissioner, and that's just
Let's see.
solidify what we,
Oh, I just had one
Did I
thing
miss something?
on
Did I
that,
miss
on
something?
page, what?
I said, did I miss something?
No,
Oh.
no, I just had a question for you. Because you had asked about all three being involved with the performance reviews.
Oh,
It does state on page 2, administrator duties, number 1. And it does include that. So, I mean, and
so it administered, so contacted the Ethics Commission Board, and we can't, the three of us cannot get together
Right.
and do an evaluation for you to present. We could do a 360 where we each do our own, submit it to Heidi. Heidi then could get you everybody's
That's how I
opinion.
thought it.
Yeah.
You
so
were trying.
Now I was trying to get it, so communication, but that doesn't
Oh.
work. Ethics Commission says, nah.
Yeah,
And
sure.
so we can do a 360 and get it to Heidi. Heidi then can get it out.
Sure. That was my only thing that I was wondering about, because I know that you
Yeah.
had mentioned that, and I saw it in
Yeah.
there. And number
So,
one.
another question is just when do play evaluations happen?
You start in the first of the year and then kind of run through.
And you do all 14?
Mhm.
Because I'm hearing that they're not done all the time. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
There's-
how I understand it.
Okay. So anyway, so I like the idea of the 360 and then the process and then.
Mhm. Is that something that we just leave in here for performance review and add
I
on
think
the,
so.
add on the 360
Oh, we could.
review?
It
It wouldn't be under administrator, it'd be under, or just our chair duties, or just the commission duties, not the chair.
do you want to put conducts 360 review on department heads? Is that what we would be?
So it'd be number 15, will we make it number
15.
15? Okay.
16 review for department heads.
Okay, one more round.
Sorry.
Do we want that brought back again, or can we just?
I'm
add that?
fine with it.
I'm fine with it if we just add on that, and whatever language.
I would just put conducts 360 review, performance reviews for department heads.
Under, and that would be number
Number
15
15.
under the commission duties?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you done any so far in January?
No. I
Since you
haven't-
said
I
first of the
haven't-
year?
I haven't started yet.
So my understanding is they do a self-evaluation first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do the evaluation. I take a look at it and then we come in and spend half an hour or so. And
Okay, so I guess I would like to see the form. So 360, is our evaluation form.
how will that work with, so will each commissioner do an interview and then it goes into their file?
No. I'm
No.
saying we each do our own, say we see this, the self-evaluation, and then we complete an evaluation form and it all goes to her. She compiles it and it goes to you.
We don't even necessarily, you're not even talking about meeting with the
No,
department head or
nope.
anything.
Oh,
We
I
are just,
see.
we are just wanting to do a review so that that is included in the final for that.
Okay.
In case we might see
Okay.
something that you don't see.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
Because
okay.
you're not in deep with some of these departments that we
We
may
are.
be, that we may have more knowledge of, or the for performance or whatever,
Okay.
so. And we
And I don't
thought,
know, yeah.
could be
I see what you're
beneficial,
saying.
could be beneficial to the overall,
Sure. I see.
review.
Okay.
It could be positive. I mean, most of the time, I'm sure it's gonna be positive, but
but it's
because there should be
beneficial.
no, yeah, and there should be
Okay.
no surprises. Okay.
So,
So, I'll make a motion to approve the county commission position description with the addition of number 15 under principal duties, that says conducts 360 performance reviews for department heads.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Saying none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Executive assistant job description review and approve.
And was that,
There was one little, when
okay,
we did this, if you go back to number, I think it's it was number 6 on here, so it's probably number 10. We forgot to take out the executive assistant part where it says, schedule appointments and make travel arrangements for commissioners and executive
Oh,
assistant. We
right.
forgot to take, when we were working
Right,
on that the
yeah.
other day, we forgot to take that out. So that's, but I think we corrected that.
I changed it to say, to include county council.
Oh, good, thank you. Yes.
Okay.
So I'll
I like
move to approve the executive assistant position description with the correction under number 10 for scheduling appointments and making travel arrangements for commissioners and county council and maintain calendars.
okay. So it would be number 10, but it says 6.
Yes.
Okay, because the numbering is up. That's what you put down. So it's 10, 11, 13 actually. Okay. Okay. I will second.
Did you make, oh, you made a motion? Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
So can we get this posted? ASAP?
That's my next question. We're good to go ahead and post this?
Yes.
Okay,
please.
good.
Nice.
All right, that's everything for contract review board. Next up will be executive session. Find my larger paper.
You want to just Stacy's?
Do you want to move executive session to the end?
I know that Holly and Stacy are both here. If Stacy needs to get back, I'm not sure if we could, either way.
Because I think she just has the transfer.
We could get Stacy's out of the way. We don't have to open contract review or anything for it, so.
Hey.
Yeah, we'll get you back to the.
Sorry, Holly.
Sorry, Holly.
I'm watching
I'm
Stacy
running
back there.
up
She's
here.
being so.
I hear you have to go track down some BB gun snipers.
And that's in my old neighborhood. I went, oh my.
I tell you, the kids stay the same age and I get older.
Yeah.
So yes, I am here for the hope that you guys will approve more detention funds to our budget for this fiscal year. Right now, my calculations show with the 3 youth that are in detention for the burglaries and theft of a gun, with their money coming out, the hope is they'll be released this Friday on electronic monitoring. So that leaves me with $15,000 left for the remainder of this year. And that is only 77 beds at $198 a day. So my first staff report asked for 20,000 additional dollars. I was asking for that because if I calculated $198 a day, that would get me a bed for 1 kid for each day the remainder of this fiscal year. I talked with Christina and she said, let's just go for 30. If you need it, use it. If you don't, don't.
Then we'll
So-
just roll it over.
Yep.
and-
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I might as well just do that.
Yeah, I did not anticipate this year to be this expensive, but you know, these
Little
kids have
bargain.
minds of their own.
And if there's any way that in the future, you know, on your future budget that we can look at, we talked about the opioid monies and how they can't be spent for, you know, particularly like the beds, Norco or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yep.
But could we look at something that could benefit some of your other, you know, expenditures
Mhm.
out of that to kind of free up some
Yeah.
of the other?
Yeah.
Kind of look at it creatively this,
Mhm.
not saying that it, hopefully it's gonna just keep on rising, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but if we use that money for some sort of, I know that there's a lot of prevention and information and education and everything going out right now, but to change.
Yeah.
Or hopefully alter some
Mhm.
of the negative behavior.
Yeah, we are working with Billy Joe Neal. She is kind of a prevention specialist through Oregon State Traffic. And we're wanting to do some type of presentation to our local youth based on the horrific accident that occurred about a month ago. And, you know, getting out these prevention tips and, you know, you may not have been consuming alcohol or drugs, but you got into a vehicle that was a risky
Somebody that
situation.
was.
So, you know, making better decisions for yourself.
Yeah,
So I might be able to use some of those dollars for these presentations.
yeah. I'm just thinking just to free up other
Yeah,
monies.
yeah.
And we had talked, we're gonna sit down and go over the budget and the opioid.
Mhm.
There's also some draft legislation to change I don't exactly understand it, but what juvenile can do as far as preventative and that
Mhm.
kind of work.
Mhm.
And I think it'll pass. So
Okay.
that's come up to the committee that I'm on, and we're going to go over it next week. And when I get the bill number, I'll kick it over to you.
And Michelle, Commissioner Caseberg is our budget officer, so if you need anything in
Okay.
deep for the numbers, also take advantage of
Yes.
that.
Absolutely.
$500 a month for internet.
Mhm.
That's what I was thinking as I was going through that. So
Yeah.
making sure that it gets added in there.
Yeah.
So on this page, just to clarify, you've got existing changes and new for revenues and expenditures on that. So you want to take this out of contingency.
Mhm.
This is going to come out of it.
Yes, please.
All right. I'll make a motion. Resolution number 2025-1002, transferring 30,000 within the juvenile department from contingency.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Kids need to be good.
Yeah. Say any further discussion? Saying none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you.
Remember meditation.
Oh, yeah. For real. I think I was meditating the day after the transport and I was sitting up in court just sleeping with my eyes open.
I bet. Long hours.
All right, we'll now go into executive session. This will be to consider the employment of a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent. This comes under ORS 192.660. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Thank you. Now close executive session. We're out of executive session. We'll now return to open session, invite members of the public back into the room. Come on in.
There they come.
Okay. Did you need a breakie?
Yes. Can we take just doesn't even have to be 5. It's just,
Do you want to do a motion first and then go to the rest of it, or do you?
oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just do that, get that out of the way, and then I'll.
What's that? Oh,
Before we move on to the documents to be signed.
Yeah. okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to make that motion? Because I'm still new to this one.
To
For an
appoint,
interim.
yeah, I'll make a motion to appoint, are we, okay.
To
are
appoint an
we
interim
naming?
director. To appoint an interim director
But no, okay.
effective
okay.
2/24.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
that's what I didn't know. Okay,
okay. Yes, and yeah, just appointing, but no.
yes.
Okay. I will make a motion to appoint a planning department director effective February 24th, 2025.
I think you have to state them, though, don't you?
Yeah, we'll need to do a letter for that person's file. So I think you need to say who it is and then interim director.
Yeah.
Okay. And her last name is.
Mitchka.
Mitchko.
I was thinking, oh, it's that lady that keeps on calling us. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, you got
Okay,
it.
okay.
I just don't, because
Back in session. And where are we at? We have order number 2025-107, reappointing members to the Ambulance Service Area Advisory Committee.
I'll make a motion to approve order number 2025-107, appointing Pat Sullivan and Sean Lee to the Baker County Ambulance Service Area Advisory Committee with an expiration date of March 1st, 2028.
Well, I think that's a good idea.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Yeah, I think we better keep them fellers on. Yeah. Order number 2025-108, appointing Dan Garrick to the Natural Resource Advisory Committee.
Is he new to this committee then?
Yes, he is. And we have a few more to go. I know we have 2 here, but we're really working to get that filled back up. So.
Cool. One's an appointment and one's a reappointment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve order number 2025-108, appointing Dan Garrick to the Natural Resource Advisory Committee. His term set to expire March 1st, 2028.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Order number 2025-109, reappointing Jan Alexander to the Natural Resource Advisory Committee.
She is wonderful. I'll approve order number 2025-109, reappointing Jan Alexander to the Natural Resource Advisory Committee for a term to expire March 1st, 2028.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Financial reports.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to approve accounts payable reports, C96, C98, C95, V48, C03, and payroll accounts payable reports of APC 97, PRC 67, PRC 68, and the December financial report and the December revenue and expenditure report.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. On to commissioner update.
You guys, do you want me to go or?
Oh, I can, well, I'll go. Pretty quick. I testified last night in favor of passenger rail bill, and it's just a direct ODOT to plan out maintenance and then what else? Like advertising and that kind of a thing. And so that was in committee for joint transportation last night, and then another bill that brings Washington in the fold and kind of desires a compact. I asked Idaho be added into the language on that so that we can try to get the Pioneer from Boise all the way through and then hook back up. So
Boy, that would be an advantage to
I
some,
know
a
it.
lot of people going back and forth to Boise.
a lot. I don't think they're taking in account of how big just outside of Boise, Star, Cuna, Meridian, and all of that are just growing. They're eating up the cornfield or the onion fields out there as fast as they can throw houses
Yeah.
up. And I think they're missing the boat, but it's a long process on that.
Sure.
So I'm going to take off Sunday and go to Salem. I got to chair my portion of the meeting for public safety with AOC, and then are any of you guys going?
No, I'm not going in
Okay.
person. No, I don't feel it's necessary for the cost, but for what I'm doing. So I'll be,
On Zoom. I'm gonna be on Zoom.
All right.
yeah,
Okay.
for the Natural Resource Steering Committee at 8 o'clock, I think. And then I'll be tuning in for the ledge part and the board of directors and all that.
So those invites come in, do I need to go to the AOC website to get those invites, or should they already be coming in?
So they
Am I
used-
missing something?
Yeah, so
Okay, 'cause
they
they're not
used to
coming in.
send them.
Okay,
And I haven't seen a one this year, but now if you go to the website.
Go to the
for-
website and give
For
them,
the,
okay, all right.
because you can do any steering committee.
Yeah. But I was just thinking, I thought they sent invites
Yeah.
They
out.
do, and that's what I'm getting him, so I don't go to
Maybe you
the
need to sign up for
website.
them. Maybe I need to sign up for them.
I don't go to the website,
But
they,
you're only getting them for the ones that you're on, right?
but they sent out that thing saying, what are you interested in? You
Yeah.
know, what do you want to be notified on? Just updating it and everything.
Oh, I may
And
not
so
have-
I made
okay,
sure
I may have
that,
missed that then.
yeah, I made sure that
Okay.
I get it for the
I
natural
think I
resource.
misunderstood that. Okay.
I think
And then I
did
make
too.
sure that I get it for the legislative committee because I have to be in there for the board of directors.
And I think last year Mallory asked me to do some stuff and Jessica asked me to do a couple things, so I was just automatic. They just
I'll
stuck
go-
me.
I'll-
The
Send that.
advantage of having them send you those is that you say
see 'em right
yes,
there. Yeah.
and then it comes in with all of your
Yeah.
links and everything.
Yeah. And so somehow I
You're
got to get on the
supposed
list.
to
I'll get on the
be-
list.
I haven't tried it on the computer. On my tablet, it's not working, but you go on their calendar and you're supposed to be able to add a calendar link to yourself or stuff, but maybe it'll
I'll
work
figure it
on the
out.
computer. but-
I'll
But
work
it
on that this
was-
morning.
It was earlier, I think this month, that they sent out that, hey, what do you
Was
want
that
to be
Sarah? Was that
engaged
from
in?
Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay.
More than likely, it was from Sarah.
If not, I'll call
I
her.
can
No, that's
forward it
okay.
if you need.
No, that's
but
okay. I'll figure out how to get on their list. So,
Yeah,
because
it-
we were talking about that and nothing was showing up on.
Yeah, I'm sure it was the 1st of January because they were saying, hey, sign on to whatever you want to for committees and then make sure that,
Okay.
you know, and then it was specific, like you are, like, for mine, it said you're AOC District 1 Vice Chair. So, you know, you
Oh, I
need to
do
be
have
tuning into the
the-
Board of Directors.
I have the ledge committee. That shows
Yeah.
up at one, but I don't. have
Did you
the
say
others.
yes to it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah, go
so,
in and just tell them what committees
other
you
ones
want
I want,
alerted
okay.
on, then the steering committee.
Okay.
Monday, February 10th, I've got, the Veterans and Public Safety Steering Committee in person, and then AOC Open House is at 3:00.
Are you staying, so that you're
I'll
staying
come
all
back.
of Monday and
I'll
then
come back Tuesday because I'd get out too late if I do the open house.
Oh, yeah.
And then got a thing Tuesday morning and then heading home. And then, we've got caucus call on Tuesday, don't we?
Yep.
And then,
Yeah, I think those are every Tuesday morning.
yeah, they are now.
And it's nice. I like that they're changing it up.
Yeah.
Who is heading it up and kind of utilizing a lot more people than what it used to be, just the
Yeah,
ones in Finley.
Just listening to,
Monday, February 17th is President's Day. The building will be closed. And I'll be home celebrating Lincoln's birthday.
Dude, that's your dog.
Yeah. Right. And he needs to do less celebrating and more exercising. It's been a long winter for him.
no, 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 go away, go away.
He's like,
Hold on, just a
we're
minute.
gonna
I
have
missed
to-
my,
start closing the dog food bag or something, because I don't know what's happening, but he keeps getting bigger and
all right, I just
Not
did something wrong.
exactly.
with
I'm
my
looking,
camera.
it's not effective, yeah. I gotta get a grazing muzzle on him or something.
What do you mean all calendars are hidden? No, 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 no.
Do you want me to
no.
do mine while you're
Yeah,
figuring that out?
I hit something.
Okay, I wanted to let you guys know some of the stuff that I did before, because we didn't go through it on our last work session, but we did have that TMDL with all agencies.
Yeah.
And it was really good. It looks like we're gonna be using the map that we have created at the county level. We've asked at the county level that we be involved with the reports and all of that stuff for the monitoring, 5 years. 5 years is the span that we asked for before the ruling. Well, they did the ruling and now we get 5 years of monitoring. So either way. So tomorrow, Donnie and I are meeting with Rob Hibbs from ODA, and that's pertaining to the TMDL, because we just want to make sure that all agencies are doing the same testing and
Right.
monitoring, and that the county is receiving all of that so that we can oversee, so that we know at what level and where the monitoring stations are and all of that. So
Are they gonna use the same testing resources?
So I mean, it's same lab, but
Okay,
the problem was when they were going through the process is that they use a lot of the data that's 20,
Right.
that was really old. Some of it even up to 20 years old. So what we're asking is, and that they were just using the 3 stations. So
right,
this
yeah.
has to be across the whole basin. It includes Union County, it includes the Forest
This
Service
is
and
people
BLM
in
and
the
ODA,
creek
and
taking samples,
it's,
but it is going to the same lab, so it's not gonna be some weird.
it should be.
Okay.
So, and everybody has to, the big deal about this was that they gave us the matrix for the plan. So each agency has to write their own plan for
Right.
this. And then that all has to be submitted by this summer, I believe, July. So
And it's a mitigation plan, right?
it's a monitoring.
Monitoring.
It's a
Okay,
monitoring. It's all monitoring for 5 years right now.
okay,
There is, I mean,
okay.
we don't know how to mitigate until we know where
Where
the
we're-
sources are coming
okay.
from. And that's where
Okay,
Baker
good.
County is insisting on DNA. And that's where Burnt River has already implemented DNA for a while now. And
Mm-hmm.
so they're on top of it. We need to go back and have everybody else
Right,
do that same, and then look towards the future for temperature and other things that they're gonna come back on us. And do that now so that we don't have to go, on the next ruling, go, okay, now we need to monitor for temp. We
The-
want everybody to monitor for everything.
right, yeah, and it needs to be, if you're shipping it off to different places or using different tools,
Yeah,
you're gonna get some weird, cross.
well, and right now, so say the parks, they order in whatever that they're testing for that test kit.
Mhm.
And then they have to they have to grab it by, say, Tuesday, and then gather the water or whatever they're testing, and then make sure that it's turned in and sent within 24 hours. I mean,
Right.
it is a time factor
Right.
thing for that lab. So, yeah, so everybody's gonna have to be up to the same standards and everything else. We'll see when the plans come in, but that's all that's basically happening right now, is just getting together the plans and the schematics for, across county, so
Okay.
that everybody is on the same page. And it looks like that'll be maybe a monthly meeting coming up to assist while everybody's working through their individual plans. And then I had a Blues Intergovernmental Council meeting, and I think I had that stuff sent to you for the draft plan.
Yes,
So it's the
176 pages.
176 pages, yes. But in going through that, I mean, I have to turn in any of my comments. Donnie is going through it. We had Jan Alexander go through it. We have, there's, because she's part of our NRAC, we gave it to NRAC and said, review this and everything. Very short time turnaround. But they're trying to get that review done before the public meetings. So we were given the preliminary draft plan. We were giving the preliminary species of
Conservation.
conservation concern, and that is everything from plants, animals, the whole spectrum of concern. Not threatened, not endangered, just concern. That they're wrapping in there. Forest specific for the 3 forests has 3 different lists, and then the third document, which was the not the desired conditions. Oh shoot, I'll think of it. There was the need to change. So
Oh, right,
the need
yeah.
to change document. So the upcoming meetings, and I have it posted out in the entryway here, and I have it down in front of my office as well, posted. Those are coming up, and the new maps will be put out, and those are the wilderness and wild and scenic. And all 3 of the forest supervisors have said 0 added wilderness, and that's on page 100 of that draft plan. And after the review from the BIC members for the draft plan. We'll turn it in. These public meetings will happen. And then the draft plan, because this is what they refer to as the drafty draft. The draft plan will be brought out to the public in spring, and that will kick off the NEPA process for actual comments
Sure.
and things like that. So in the end of this month, the 28th is our next BIC meeting in Pendleton. And then I'll roll right into that public meeting there in Pendleton. I'll stay for that. And then I'll attend any of them through until ours is in March. Yeah, it's not, I'm not showing you on this one, but ours is in March, but I'm gonna try to hit as many of those as I can up until that point. I also tuned into the Pacific Northwest Hydrogen Hub webinar and forum because Durkee was on the list for that. And it is in the pipeline. It is a hub that they actually produce the hydrogen there. I have it on my list to get with Ashgrove and ODOT. It doesn't look like they necessarily want to be fueling cars or vehicles or anything there. It's for Ashgrove, but they do have the option out there of trucking in a load into Baker City and having that available at a pump at an existing gas station for hydrogen vehicles. And I also have a paper that outlines all of the negative with the hydrogen hubs beyond water usage, and it really highlights the volatility of hydrogen and, you know, the factors of that, the safety measures that are going to have to go. Now, when the people that are doing this across Montana, Washington, Idaho, Oregon, it's a whole string of them. They didn't realize, and they talked to the planning department, didn't realize the lack of emergency response in that location. They really didn't realize it. And then also part of my conversation with Ashgrove will be, what is their emergency response and how do they plan for something like that, you know, where it could be a fire hazard or something like that. Hydrogen, it does not have a smell. There's no indicator.
Until it's going up.
Right. So there's a few things with that I will continue to keep diving into with ODOT and with Ashgrove. And
another aspect, and it's way down the future, but if that were to come online, and I didn't mention it last night because it's way off, but they want to come up with hydrogen fueled locomotive
and ships, for like the cruise ships.
Tracks run right by Ashgrove.
Yes.
So
yes,
in theory, or Huntington, if you were to produce hydrogen out there, and then there were hydrogen fueled locomotives, that could be kind of good.
Yeah,
but
there's
if we're gonna still be alive to see it, I don't know, but it's not. But yeah, I mean, all of that stuff, it has me a little concerned.
I'm not against. I'm not against it. I'm
but
just trying to find out everything, and that emergency response is a real big deal. About that location. So,
I mean, if they come up with hydrogen powered Formula One cars, I think it'll be really cool. I don't know. I want to drive the first one.
But I just, I'm really concerned about the safety part of it.
Yeah.
Water number one, and safety
water
number two.
and safety. Yep, the water usage. And they said that they would run off of the wells that Ashgrove have. That's another question for Ashgrove. How much do you have in that well?
Right.
You know, and for the safety purpose.
Yeah.
Because we know that there is fire at you know, internally in those kilns and things like that at Ashgrove. Regular basis, so that it is a concern.
Well, not also that, but you know, coming up and over the hill.
Yeah,
That's my first one.
yeah.
But I mean, of course, all of that would have to be mitigated before they start building something.
Oh,
but-
there's just a lot
Oh,
to
there
it,
is.
you
Yeah.
know, and I think that we have to ask the questions now.
Yeah.
So, I will go to the, on Tuesday, I'm going out to Unity for the Burnt River CWMA, annual, meeting out there. And then, on the 12th, if it works out, it doesn't look like we have any session that day.
I have down for EOCA on that day. Is that?
No, EOCA is on the 13th.
I
So
just
the
wrote on
12th,
date. Okay, I wrote on the wrong date.
the
Okay.
12th is the America
thought-
250 at Crossroads that I was
Yep.
gonna go over and just listen
Oh,
into.
yeah.
And then the 13th is EOCA. And then on the 18th, I'm meeting with Ginger Savage and Miss Blizzard. And then there's an ADC meeting. And yeah, and I think that there's TLT and there's also the partners meeting that week as well, so. But the TLT is not the regular meeting, it is the
It's
monthly,
that's- yeah.
because it's their monthly, it's not work session, but they're, it doesn't allow for grants and things like that to be,
They're just. too much going on.
accepted or,
No, they're looking over
or
like
presented or
Jessica's-
anything at that time, so.
Jessica's work too.
So they're looking at Jessica's, but are they looking at Ariel's then too?
I have requested that to be before I handed it off to you. So yes, they should be.
For who? TLT?
Well,
Mhm.
so TLT,
Well, so
She's
that's
got
gonna
TLT.
be, yeah,
She's
I
got
have
TLT.
TLT, and that's
Oh,
gonna,
that's right.
So,
yeah,
'cause
that's gonna be a question for me as why is that particular person from the city looking at Jessica? That
Yeah.
was something that was
so I thought it was
volunteered,
just
not
Randy. I
voted
thought it
on.
was just Randy reviewing Jessica's bills.
It is,
instead-
but that was.
But
it
why are
was-
we not doing Ariel's?
Why you're not doing
That's-
both?
That's my
Okay, let
concern.
me ask you this, why was it not voted on and he just volunteered to do it?
I don't know, because I didn't read the whole minutes. I
Yeah.
got a set of
I-
minutes, but
I did, and I
Yeah.
will be addressing that at
Well,
the
and I-
meeting this
I
month.
called the chair and said, all of Jessica's financial work comes to my
It comes
desk and
to,
I sign it.
yes,
And if it's weird, I call her and say, why are we buying?
well,
Yo-yos
most of that
or
stuff's
whatever
approved
it
ahead of
is?"
time, right?
Yeah.
At the
Yes.
TLT meeting. So
yes.
I didn't understand. I don't know that she understood either.
Well,
Oh,
and-
she doesn't, I
and
mean,
she
it's,
called me, or we had a discussion, and she's like, don't you approve all of my stuff?
Yes.
And he just wanted to go over it. And I said, if,
But if
you know,
we-
if you
if-
want to look, if you want to look that stuff
That's gonna
over,
change.
it goes in everybody's binder.
Yeah.
Every month.
Yep.
Well, the thing is,
Anybody can do it.
what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
And
went
that's
that way.
exactly right.
and so with me coming into TLT, I see that as something that definitely needs to be discussed this month, along with detail, and I mean detail
do
on
too,
aerials.
yeah. I
On the
specifically-
downtown,
I
and what we're getting is
specifically
general.
asked to have that put in her contract. So we could see itemized, because we can't defend if Aora comes after us and says, how'd you spend the money?
Right, I
have-
spent it on Christmas trees, plastic Christmas trees, no.
Right.
I want it specific, and that's what I'm going to ask for.
Okay.
This,
Okay,
it's
Yeah.
because after I
specific
met
on-
with Jessica, that's.
Yes,
okay.
specific on BCD and then removal of that extra checking by
Mhm.
Randy on, I think that's unnecessary. It
And he
takes,
can do it if he wants, any of them can. I just told him, I'm not gonna have her run a report just to ship to Randy, just pull the binder out.
well, and it's taking
It's
up
all
her
item-
time now when it's already
Right.
out there anyway, so
Right.
I
It's
feel
all
it's.
itemized every month.
And I feel it's kind of overreach, but I mean, it's,
Well, it is because they approve it. She does the work, and then it comes to me to have the final say on the bill.
mhm,
And if there's something goofy.
Yeah.
I have no problem. We've always had a good, like,
Yeah.
was this approved? Is this the
No,
right,
yeah, I agree, so, yeah, so that's.
Okay,
one thing.
you're on it.
if the whole committee wants to open the binders and look through everything, more power to them. But
But
you've already approved her to do the work.
correct, and we're not
So-
getting the detail that
No,
we
we're
need on
not.
the BCD side,
No.
so, both
Well,
sides of
especially where
that.
that money comes out of.
It
Yep,
comes out of TLT and
Yep.
it's still earmarked the way
Oh,
it always has.
I had a question, so it was brought up, that TLT money goes to the chamber, I'm not saying travel Baker County, I'm saying to the chamber. Which I have to check on.
It goes to the chamber just to rent
There's a
The-
certain amount that does go to the chamber, yes.
Yes, it goes to the chamber just for the information. What do we call it?
The hub, but I think
The
there
thing.
is a certain amount that, yes, and
But just for the rent for the information center.
For Travel Baker County to be in there, or is it goes directly to
it
the,
goes, I think it goes directly to the
to the chamber?
chamber. I think,
Chamber, directly to the chamber is the rent of that information side. And then,
we can pull that in that budget.
no, I don't.
Yeah, I want to see that because I was
Yeah.
kind of confused on
Because
exactly
there's two,
what we're.
Jessica has a contract.
Mhm.
We have a contract with the chamber for the information center.
But it's Baker County Unlimited.
Yeah,
It's not called chamber anymore, Baker County Unlimited.
which is the
But
chamber.
I think
Which is
that-
the
I
chamber
know.
side.
So, but I know that they got, and if I remember, and sitting in some of those meetings, that there is some money for TL, that
There's-
goes directly.
There is a front desk person that funds. Like the person and a couple
Not Chris,
volunteers.
but there's the other
Yeah.
with when.
Right, no,
when
none of
it's
that.
not-
Because I think his is by dues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's completely chamber, but no, we don't pay. See,
But
and
there
there
is something
was,
there.
there was a problem in the past of the person that's supposed to be handing out brochures, doing some work for the chamber directly, making cold calls for,
Mhm, mhm.
and. we
Putting
put-
together
and we
packets
put-
or,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
anything.
trying to get membership for the chamber.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's not
So what
we're
about
paying.
Janet Dodson how is,
I don't know who that is.
she's
She
Eastern
is-
Oregon visitors, Eastern Oregon visitors, I think.
Yeah, so
And she
we,
works out of there a little bit.
and we
too,
may
so.
pay,
I don't know.
yeah. we may
So,
pay
Do you want me to
for-
see if I can come up with that? and get
Yeah,
you guys-
if you
okay.
can dig into that and confirm, I would appreciate it. And then also, I understand that BCD is asking the businesses downtown. It started off as a dues for $300 from each business, but then there was some kickback on
I know,
that.
so
And then it's
donation or-
contributions. And then two of the business owners, well, one of them in particular reached out to me and they said that they were told that they're not, if they want a grant, then they need to do that contribution.
Hmm,
So there's several things that I'm diving into on that side.
I did hear some rumbling and I haven't had a chance to look into it, so
No, I will
that's-
be,
yeah, do
and
that,
I
'cause that's
am
not,
with the TLT.
with TLT, and businesses downtown that have reached out to me and with BCD. So,
it
yeah,
may be, oh,
no, it's BCD. It's
it's
just
like a
asking,
grant for
The
building
downtown,
improvement.
and it's,
it's
yeah.
any of
Any of
her
this-
Main Street downtown grant stuff. It sounds like she said, well, if you want to.
well, and did you see that now Baker City downtown is doing an open house and the chamber's doing after hours?
Hmm.
There's a little bit of competition there. Why don't they?
That's where the partner,
That's the-
that's where the partner group that I sat in last month, I will be sitting in now
The
because
partner group meaning,
meaning, BMCC, Bryant White, the Chamber, Travel, Baker County, and, BCD were all there.
Okay.
And so what they did was really kind of interesting because Chris and Travel, I think it was all Chris, I'm not sure. They did what do you do type deal
Mhm,
and what don't you do? And
Yeah.
then what are we doing that's overlapping
right,
for funding and everything else and work? So it was very interesting and I think that that's going to be picked up and
I just
highlighted.
just thought that this was interesting that Baker City downtown was doing an open house after hours, and then the chamber was doing one as well.
Yeah.
And so I just
Yeah.
thought that was kind of,
There's a few things,
Little
like I
competition going
say,
on
that when I'm
Well-
jumping into that TLT, that I'm also.
because you know that
jumping in
TLT
with that.
dollars was going into some of that, maybe
Mhm.
not with the chamber, but the Baker City downtown.
Oh, in both, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not
so-
sure, and I haven't talked to Christopher to see how he's doing that
Mhm.
when I was there.
Okay.
So,
well,
And that should do it on my side.
I've been fighting with it for 4 years and I appreciate. handling it all.
Well, if you
were
can't make it
involved
to
on
a
the
partner
city
meeting,
level.
Yeah.
if you can't make it to a partner meeting, let me know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because we probably shouldn't both show up, but let me know.
Right.
Okay, all right.
All
So-
of these people are working
The
to the
same
same goal,
goal.
but the overlap and
Yeah.
the competition is
It's
unnecessary.
When it should all actually be reported to Travel Baker County. So it just,
Having owned a Main Street, or a Main Street business, it is frustrating.
Okay,
Okay.
and that's, yeah.
Okay, so I have a meeting with Baker Rural Fire today on that grant that
Okay.
Jessica Key sent out. They've been trying to do one other thing, and so Jessica requested that they kind of do it this way. Instead,
Okay.
they've got something out there, but I think that's dying, and so go this community grant with the training center that they
The
have.
CIP or?
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
it'd be like a training center that would be for a fire and whatever, and so,
Did you see that, for Friday, they're gonna have a,
yes, and I'm
informational
gonna try
for
and
the
do that, yeah,
CIP?
I'm gonna try and,
We wrote them a letter for their, or did I just do it? Maybe it had to be,
don't
I
know.
think I wrote a letter in favor of their deal out there.
I don't know.
Maybe,
I
I
don't know,
think
I'm
it was,
finding, I think we're kind of starting from scratch, and so,
okay.
I'll let you guys know, and
Okay.
yeah, we're gonna sit in on the meeting on Friday, so. but,
Yeah.
And I had Heidi, for that opportunity for the CIP to the department heads, as well as that Friday, informational
Good, okay,
webinar,
okay.
so.
All right. And then, tomorrow, we're gonna try another Trinity Healthcare meeting.
Okay.
Yay.
What time?
It's at noon, and, so it's just the small group,
Okay.
and then next week, in addition to what you talked about, and I also I'm gonna try the America 250.
Yeah.
Just, I was gonna try it for cattle women to see, what we're doing. So I'll be going as cattle women,
Yeah,
not as commissioners. So-
no, and
And so-
you know what, if we end up in the same public meetings like that, I mean,
And
just,
if they're
yeah.
noticed. it's-
they're noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
and
one's-
you
and
can't
she's
make any
noticed that one, so,
decisions, it's
okay.
all right.
And then I'm also meeting with Ginger and the new manager for the interpretive center.
Blizzard.
Yeah, I
Miss
couldn't remember her
Oh,
last name.
that's right.
That's
And-
why I
That's
said
right, that's
Blizzard, I
right.
couldn't
Yeah,
remember.
and so then, and then there's County College. As soon as our session on the 19th is over, I'm going to County College again. So that's kind of what I have, for prior stuff. Just starting to meet with a bunch of the department heads and trying to get a feel for things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So.
really, you're not just, all
eating
informed
bonbons
and and in the legislative part, I just keep adding on the ones that I want to
Well,
watch.
and that's, like yesterday's meeting, when we were talking about that, we've already talked about all those things. We know that they're on their radar. And so I thought,
But now you'll see where they'll say, oh, this one dropped, or this one we
Yeah.
need people, to testify
yeah,
or
so-
whatever as they move.
So one committee I noticed that was missing was Community Connections on our list of, on our list. Community Connections isn't on that list. Should it be?
Was Bruce on community? I think.
Yeah, he was. And that's, yeah, but I don't see it on there. So if you guys don't mind, I'll just go ahead and take it.
Sure.
He wasn't like appointed to it,
But he always,
attended.
he attended. the
Just
meeting.
kinda
The
tunes
liaison,
in.
if you
Yeah.
will. So,
I think just because of the transit grant.
Yep.
Yep. Even though we're shifting
Yep.
that management, I
I
think
just think that,
That's, yeah.
I just think that
That makes sense.
because of everything that goes on with all the, I think that we need a presence there, if you will. Just because of some of the things, like when Donnie brought back, they were the $20,000 or whatever. And I think just to kind of, just make sure we all know what's going on. There's no surprises.
I was doing some of that stuff, just because. But yeah, since we've got someone coming on to do that. I don't know if it'd be full time, but they're dedicated to being the
Oh, the grant.
and the transient. Our transit manager.
That's the grant.
that's the grant.
Well, it's two separate things. Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's
because we're
one
hiring
to-
two different companies to do.
But it's the transit grant. I mean, it's a grant. It's that.
It is, but it also, they have to do the supervision and make sure the money's.
Well, yeah, that's part of the
That's
whole grant.
part of that.
I guess.
And also they work with routing and that kind of thing.
No, that's not part of that grant.
It's part of being the, what do we call it,
The
position?
administrator of the grant. I thought it was just that they were going to be the money person and
I think they just monitor the grant.
they're just
Yeah,
monitoring the
they're
grant.
monitoring.
Right, but they also have to monitor how the routes are running and whether or not the money's being used to get the people from A to B in the right funding stream.
Well, that's part of that grant management.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
This is
Okay.
part of the reporting
Yeah,
on rights
yeah.
to wellness.
well,
and
and
veterans
it, and
rights,
it
so
is,
we're-
but when you do that, you end up working with, Kane over there and.
Well, yeah, that person has to.
Right,
Yeah. So
right,
anyway, I
so,
just want to tie it all together.
Yeah,
And so if you guys don't care.
no,
and
no,
that's
anyway,
fine.
no, I think that's fine.
Okay.
I'd appreciate it, actually.
Is that it?
Sure.
I'm probably missing a couple things, but I can
Okay.
tell you about it when it, next time.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
but
I
our
also
ne-
have a PVAB meeting. My counseling, my PVAB training got canceled.
Uh-huh.
And so we're trying to work with the state on when we can have our PVAB meeting, the property value meeting,
Oh,
until
yeah,
after I get my training.
yeah.
And so Stephanie and I are working on that, because we can't really have meeting with me present until I've had that extra training and they keep canceling it and moving it.
Oh, done. Okay.
All
So
right.
anyway,
And our next meeting is the 19th. We don't have four this.
we don't have one on the
Oh, we should have one next week.
No.
No, we should-
No.
Let's not.
I
All
think you
right.
guys are really getting,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Let's get out of here.